Oh, hello. My name is Adam and I'm here to talk to you about motivation today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what motivation is and all of the other factors that can influence it. Now, I must admit, I had a hard time doing this assignment. Not only was it a little bit long, but also I had to pick up the book, and the book is ridiculously heavy.
It's not that heavy.
Maybe I'm just a little bit tired. Anyway, so to motivate me, my wife said that she would give me this chocolate if I finish. Isn't that right, darling?
You do whatever you like.
Well, it's my chocolate. Anyway, what is motivation? Motivation is a process whereby a goal-directed activity is sustained. You start it and you finish it. There's a goal and you work towards it. Motivation is probably the most important thing in successful learning. Motivation can be divided into two types: extrinsic motivation and intrinsic motivation. The former, extrinsic, is when we complete a task simply as a means to an end. It has to be done, kind of like washing dishes. That's an example. What about an assignment? Assignments that you have to complete, but you don't really want to do them, but you have to do them because if you don't, you'll fail, and failing sucks, and you'll have to give back all that money that you borrowed to study. So that's kind of like what extrinsic is. You have to do it, but you're not really invested in the process. Intrinsic motivation is a little bit different. This is when we are invested in the process. We have our eye on the goal, and we also enjoy the process. We enjoy learning and building our understanding. It's where you're involved for your own sake. With learning, we may be intrinsically involved in some things and extrinsically involved in others. For example, you may love doing history, but you hate washing the dishes. You may hate doing photography, but you really, really love doing English. So our interest varies, and what kind of motivation varies as well. So what do you think of this unit that I'm studying, sweetheart?
You're studying?
Yeah, I thought I told you. I'm doing a teaching degree.
I thought you were waxing your hair on your toes every week.
I only need to do that once a week. Ideally, we should all be intrinsically motivated, but it doesn't always happen like that, especially in school. But what is important is that students can find tasks meaningful. If you find something meaningful, then there's chances are that you will be involved in it and invested in the process of learning. Teachers can do this by trying to present a challenge, encouraging autonomy, and promoting students' feelings of creativity. There are a whole bunch of theories on learning, social cognitive, and these theories pretty much exist for motivation as well. Behaviorist views, well, these focus on reward and good grades as motivators. Cognitive and social cognitive theories contend that children are motivated to learn when the equilibrium is upset. This harks back to Piaget, when what we know clashes with what is being presented with us. Children want to reach this balance again. Sociocultural views focus on the scaffolding that occurs in supportive learning environments. This is most likely to be in group work and kind of caring community of learning. Humanistic views propose that teachers need to be aware of each individual student's needs, showing concern and attempting to understand that a student as a person creates a sense of acceptance that is conducive to motivation. If we feel cared about, if we feel safe and happy, then chances are we're going to do a little bit better in school. This kind of motivation is especially good with children that are at risk, that come from homes where learning is not the first priority and where they've got a lot of other things on their plate. The influence of needs is another important aspect of motivation. We all have basic needs like food, shelter, warmth, chocolate. Abraham Maslow made a hierarchy that shows the needs of a person. Survival is, of course, the first. Well, we all need to survive. And safety, belonging, and self-esteem come after this. The final is self-actualization, and this means reaching your full potential. Maslow's assertion is that if the first four needs, which are called deficiency needs, if these are not met, then self-actualization, reaching your full potential, just doesn't have the chance to occur. It cannot be met. Self-determination is pretty important too. That drive that seems to come from nowhere actually does come from somewhere.
Where?
I don't know, maybe it's in the book. Actually, it comes from our need to act on and control our environment. Competence, autonomy, and relatedness are terms often used for self-motivation. Through meeting challenges and resolving experiences that don't sit well with what we already know, we can increase our competence. We all usually feel pretty good when we can feel competent, right?
You're not competent at cooking dinner.
Yeah, I'm sorry I burnt that. Anyway, autonomy follows that having choices increases self-motivation. If you have more choice, then you are likely to be more involved in something. After all, who likes having little choice over what they actually do?
You made me help you with this.
Yeah, okay. The need for relatedness stems from a pretty basic need. We like to feel connected to people, connected to our environment, to others, and to feel respect and love from them. Teachers that show unconditional regard for their students can meet their needs for relatedness. But there is a danger that some students may be too reliant on praise and things like this. Self-worth has been suggested as another factor in motivation. We all like to feel like we have an ability and are competent. We'll often go to quite a bit of trouble to protect that, even if we're not quite as good as we think we are. If you failed a test, perhaps you'll come up with some excuses. It was too difficult. It was a bad day. I was tired. I didn't get enough rest, right?
You're just making excuses.
Yeah. And they are that, just excuses. Often we're more likely to admit these than the actual truth, that we didn't study and that we actually put in no effort at all. Teachers need to increase the belief that effort will increase ability. Students need to understand this, and teachers need to constantly remind students effort equals results. Beliefs also form a large part of motivation. Expectations about future outcomes, studying for a test and expecting to do well, for example. If you expect you'll do well, then there's a good chance that you will. Beliefs about intelligence can also affect ability. A belief that you are not good in a particular subject may have a bigger influence in your outcome than you actually expect. If you think you can't, then maybe you can't. I think I suck at math, so therefore I will.
You do suck at math.
Yeah, I know that.
Really suck,
Yeah. Self-efficacy is the belief that problems are solvable if effort and perseverance are present. This is close, though not the same as expectation. Goals as well. Goals can be split up into several categories. Mastery and performance goals. These are focused on completing a task and in the process increasing your understanding. So mastery, exactly what the name infers. You want to master the topic. Performance goals, simply, focus on the learner's ability in comparison to others. We all like to perform and look good, right? Performance approach goals focus on looking competent and receiving good judgments and praise from others. Performance avoidance goals are a little bit different. These focus on making sure the learner doesn't look incompetent and the negative judgments that come with looking incompetent. So we try to put on our best show to cover up that maybe we don't really know what we're talking about. Like in this case, maybe. Social goals can also come into play. These are a little bit different. Forming friendships can be a motivating factor. Helping others can be a motivating factor. And this is a strange one, even underachieving, so that we don't make others feel so bad about maybe their lesser abilities.
Well, I let you win at Scrabble once.
God, it's a long time ago, wasn't it? Students who follow work avoidance goals, they really don't like challenging problems, and they don't work too well in groups either, which kind of sucks if you're in their group. Teachers need to be aware of goals as a motivator for students. Setting clear, attainable yet challenging goals, that's a surefire way to encourage students. Monitoring those goals is also very important to make sure that the students are on track with their goals. The last thing I want to talk about today is emotion. If we are interested or emotionally invested in a subject, then chances are we're going to do a lot better at it. And it's up to teachers in a lot of cases to try and create a sense of interest, though this is not always possible. What is possible, though, is for teachers to involve students, give them choices, and try and personalize some of the content to make it interesting for them. Also, if a teacher is really into his or her subject, then chances are that's going to rub off on the students as well. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for listening to my talk on motivation, and I'd also like to thank... That's my chocolate.
No, it's not. It's mine.